You were that child your parents and siblings didn't have to worry about. While your siblings broke, you held. When your mother cried, you didn't. When your father raged, you stayed quiet. Somewhere in the early fog of your childhood, the world assigned you a role, not based on your needs, but on what everyone else needed from you. You became the strong son. Not because you were unbreakable, but because someone had to be. And from that moment forward, your pain stopped being seen as pain. It became background noise, a silence people admired without realizing it was a scream. Gabor Maté has spent years peeling back the layers of human trauma, and there's one brutal truth he returns to again and again. What we call personality is often just a defense mechanism frozen in time. So the strong son, the responsible one, the high achiever, the calm in a crisis man, is often just a boy who had to grow up too fast. He didn't earn his strength. He built it under pressure, under the weight of unspoken grief, unmet needs, and invisible expectations. And yet the world keeps applauding him for it. Every award, every compliment, every nod of respect he gets as a man is built on a foundation of pain he was never allowed to show. No one ever asked what it cost you to be dependable. No one paused to wonder who you ran to when things fell apart. Because things weren't allowed to fall apart. Not for you. Your mother needed stability. Your father needed someone to mimic, not challenge. Your friends needed an anchor, your siblings a shield. And so you became the son who didn't cry, the brother who didn't complain, the man who didn't falter. But being the strong son means you never got to just be a son. You became a function, a role, a piece of emotional architecture that held the family up while your own needs slowly crumbled inside the walls. By the time you reached adulthood, the mask had fused with your skin. You didn't just act strong, you believed that's all you were allowed to be. And the wounds, you buried them deep. Every time something hurt, you overperformed. Every time something was taken from you, you said it was fine. When they overlooked your exhaustion, you smiled anyway. When they asked you for help during your lowest moments, you still said yes, because that's the contract you signed without knowing. The strong son doesn't get to have limits. He's not allowed to say no. He doesn't break, he bends. The poison in this praise, the more they admired your strength, the more they abandoned your softness. The very things that made you human, your vulnerability, your confusion, your anger, became liabilities. So you tucked them away. You became emotionally fluent in everyone else's language but your own. And somewhere along the line, numbness started to feel like peace. Not because you were truly calmed, but because the war inside had gone quiet, muted, suppressed. And yet the body remembers. As Gabor Maté teaches, the body is the scorekeeper of all unresolved trauma. What you won't speak about, your body screams about. The tight chest, the shallow breath, the clenched jaw, these aren't just physical quirks, they're trauma flares, signals. The echoes of a child who needed to be held but was instead expected to hold everyone else together. And if you don't stop, if you don't listen, your body will begin to break in ways your mind refuses to admit. Fatigue, anxiety, disconnection, a quiet urge to run from everything and everyone, especially yourself. But the world doesn't see any of that. To them, you're still reliable, still competent, still the one who always finds a way. They'll call you a rock, a leader, a protector, but they'll never call you what you really are, tired. Not from life, but from pretending it doesn't hurt.
Eventually, the strength you've worn like armor begins to feel less like protection and more like a prison. You start noticing the cracks, when you can't sleep at night but have no idea why, when joy feels like a performance, when every compliment feels more like pressure than praise. You sit in rooms full of people and feel invisible. You give advice with a calm voice while screaming inside, wondering if anyone would notice if you disappeared. But the strong son doesn't disappear. He shows up. He pushes through. He swallows the lump in his throat and shows up for others, even when no one shows up for him. This is the tragedy of early adaptation. Gabor Maté warns that when a child is forced to choose between authenticity and attachment, they will always choose attachment. It's a survival instinct. And so, as the strong son, you traded your authentic self, the one who cried, who needed, who asked, for the role of caretaker. That role earned you belonging, but at the cost of your own sense of self. Now, as a man, you might not even know who you are when no one needs you. Silence becomes suffocating. Rest feels like guilt, because your entire identity has been shaped around serving others, not being yourself. The pain of being the strong son isn't loud. It doesn't come in breakdowns or outbursts. It leaks, quietly, in the way you avoid eye contact when someone asks if you're okay. In the way you downplay your wins because you were taught that attention is dangerous. In the way you instinctively say it's all good when it absolutely isn't. You've trained yourself out of your own emotions so thoroughly that even love begins to feel foreign. Not because you don't want it, but because real intimacy threatens the carefully built persona that kept you safe all these years. You tell yourself you're protecting others by staying strong, but the truth is you're protecting yourself from being seen. Because what if they saw the truth? What if they saw the doubt, the fear, the rage, the aching loneliness? You were taught that these parts of you were dangerous, too much, too messy, too inconvenient, so you became the polished version, the edited son, the one who learned how to smile while holding back tears. But deep down, a part of you has always known the truth. No one gets through this life untouched, and the cost of strength without vulnerability is isolation. And maybe that's the cruelest irony. The strong son is surrounded by people who respect him, but few who truly know him. You became the answer to everyone else's chaos, but never allowed yourself to be the question. And now, after years of being the rock, you don't know how to crumble without feeling like a failure. But let this land softly. Falling apart is not failure. It's release. It's a sacred rebellion against a life of emotional captivity. The tears you hold back are not a threat to your strength. They are the beginning of your freedom. Gabor Maté teaches that healing isn't about fixing what's broken, but reclaiming what was lost. For the strong son, what was lost was softness. The right to need, the right to rest, the right to say, I'm not okay. That kind of honesty requires a different kind of courage. Not the courage to hold it all together, but the courage to let go, to speak, to crack, to be seen, even in your mess, especially in your mess. Because real strength isn't about control. It's about authenticity. It's about saying, I'm tired of being the version of myself that everyone finds useful, but no one truly understands. And then doing the work, slowly, patiently, bravely, to find the boy you left behind. The one who didn't have to earn love by being stoic. The one who could cry without consequence. The one who didn't yet believe that love was conditional on his strength.
And this is where the healing begins, not in some dramatic act of rebellion, not in burning everything down, but in something quieter, something braver. The decision to stop pretending, to wake up one day and say, I'm not fine, and mean it. To stop offering your soul in exchange for silence, to let someone in, just once, without the armor. That's the beginning. It won't feel like a breakthrough at first. It'll feel like weakness. It'll feel like failure. Because your body has been trained, like a soldier, to equate vulnerability with danger. You'll want to retreat, to go back to nodding and smiling and being fine. But stay with it. That discomfort is proof that you're standing in a new room inside yourself, one you were never allowed to enter before. Healing, as Gabor Maté insists, is not about blaming the past. It's about seeing it clearly, with compassion. Your parents didn't set out to hurt you, they were wounded too. Maybe your father was also the strong son. Maybe your mother never had someone to lean on. Maybe the entire system around you was built on emotional starvation and you were just the latest to inherit it. But here's what makes you different. You're the one who sees it now. You're the one who feels the weight and dares to question it. That, in itself, is a form of healing. Not loud, not sudden, but real. The strong son who begins to feel again is not weak, he's reclaiming power in the most radical way, by no longer outsourcing his worth to performance. You don't have to be anyone's savior, you don't have to keep the family together, you don't have to smile through the ache. You get to be human. Fully, messily, gloriously. And yes, that will confuse people, it will scare some, because they've come to depend on your silence. But your silence was never love, it was survival. Now you get to choose something deeper, something truer. This path won't make you invincible, but it will make you free. You'll still feel the urge to revert, to say yes when you mean no, to stay calm when you're burning inside. That's okay. You're unwiring a lifetime of conditioning. It takes time, grace, repetition. But every time you speak the truth, even when your voice shakes, you're stepping further away from the lie that your worth depends on your usefulness. You're showing the boy inside you that he's finally safe, that he doesn't have to keep watch anymore, that he can rest. And as you open, something beautiful happens. Other men start to open too. They see you cry, and suddenly their tears feel less dangerous. They hear your honesty and realize they're not alone. That's the ripple effect of healing. The strong son who finds his voice becomes the man who gives others permission to find theirs. Not through preaching, not through perfection, but through presence, through the quiet, steady, and unglamorous act of being real. So if you're tired, be tired. If you're angry, be angry. If you're grieving, grieve. You don't owe anyone a mask anymore. The world has enough strong sons performing strength. What it needs now are whole men. Men who carry not just the burdens of others, but the full, messy truth of themselves. Men who know that pain is not a flaw, it's a compass, a signal that something important is asking to be felt. And when you answer that call, not with fear, but with compassion, you don't just heal yourself, you heal generations. You show your future children that they never have to trade love for silence, that they are allowed to be strong and soft, needed and needy, full of fire and full of feeling. You become the man you never had, and that is the most sacred revolution of all. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.